Let's talk to Mal Fletcher. Mal, morning to you.
Morning, John.
I suppose, like anything in this, the intent is good. Some people might say the execution is, well, it needs a bit of work.
Yeah, I think the intention is a very good one. We do live in a world of absent presence. We're spending far too much time really in the cloud with digital gadgets. We don't interact with people immediately around us. But that said, I'm not so sure that people find a tube or places like it an ideal spot to chat. I mean, most of us only make very short trips on the tube or public transport, so any conversation, as has already been said, is pretty stilted and shallow. And that can get a bit tiring after a while. There's only so many times in a day you can have a conversation about the weather or the sport or public transport. And I think also a tube trip's a means to an end for most of us. We're not focused on the trip. We're focused on what we'll be doing at the other end of the journey. So we're not really in the mental space to have a really enriching conversation. So not a bad thing to encourage interaction. I wonder whether an office chat badge is a better idea, actually, because that's the place where we really need to humanize the digital and get people interacting more so they're more enjoying their work, they're more productive.
I mean, this is based on the tube in London, but of course, I mean, it can go for anywhere in the UK. With public transport. You think about it. You go on a train at Darlington, you're going to be sitting next to somebody all the way to London's King's Cross potentially, and isn't that a wasted opportunity? Because you could have a good conversation with somebody, just stimulate your mind, rather than just fiddling on playing Candy Crush or whatever the latest fad is at the moment.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, personally, I spend a lot of time on aeroplanes too, and the same is true there. The argument can be made you can have a really meaningful conversation on a short haul or a long haul flight. The only challenge today is that we live in such busy urban environments. We get precious little privacy as it is. And I know many people who say, for example, an aeroplane's the only place I can get away from my mobile phone. And in a way, a tube's the same. You can't really connect on the phone on the tube. Tubes are often a welcome opportunity for people just to take a few minutes out of the day with a book, some music, or a newspaper. It doesn't have to be digital. And I think on its best days, the tube gives us an opportunity to catch our breath between engagements. People jealously guard that. They want, in a way, to remain anonymous just for a little bit longer.
If you were on the train, say, for instance, coming up north, and I was sitting across from you and I had my badge on, fancy a chat? Or something like that. Would you engage in a conversation with me, or would you think, yeah, there's a bit of a weirdo, I'm going to steer clear of him, he's the nutter on the bus with his camel?
I'm sure I wouldn't with you John, because you've got the radio voice. I think I'd listen to you.
Talker.
No, but look, I think I would chat to people if they wanted, but I'm not sure that... There's only so far I would go, I think, and I'm a British citizen, but of Australian origin, as you can hear. We tend to be probably a little more chatty, but not as much as our American cousins. But I think that reserve is not a bad thing, that British reserve, that sense of don't want to go too far in a conversation, get too personal, too intimate. We don't know in today's world who that person is. I'm also not sure that British people like the idea of someone having to wear a badge to say, I'd like to talk. I think it comes across as less natural. It's almost like a forced thing, a thing that I'm doing because it's a campaign that I'm on, rather than I just want to say hello.